So we're back here at the halftime show. Ryan has joined us again. So thank you again, Ryan from Phillyverse. Mike Fuji, of course, my co-host is on. And this little Mickey Mouse parade that we see going on out here, 8-7 at the half. Folks, once again, we talked about in the beginning of the game that apparently Casey Kasem should have came on and been a DJ for this one because up-tempo. Remember, Doug? Up-tempo. We're coming out with this up-tempo. First two drives, punt. So I don't know where the up-tempo is. I must have missed it. The memo along the way must have been missed. Like, let me write this down. We're going to do up-tempo this week. Next week, we're going to do up-tempo. And then, I don't know, we'll just keep going from there. So maybe the name I was trying to remember, and Mike brought it to my attention, was Ryan Seacrest. And that's what I was trying to remember prior to us going off. And speaking of, before I forget, for those who were tuned in at the pregame show, if you happen to see a Trump commercial, I did not endorse a commercial or anything else. I had a YouTube clip going, and unfortunately, I couldn't exit out the screen to skip the ad, and so the Trump commercial ran. So I don't endorse anyone. You know, I don't talk politics on the show, so unfortunately, it ran, and it was what it was. But anyways, 8-7. This is, again, another pathetic game for the most part. It's not looking too good. Once again, like Ryan, you mentioned it prior to on a pregame show that he's using his legs, but as I just mentioned to you off air, how much more is he going to use his legs before he breaks his legs?
Well, I mean, I hope that never happens, but unfortunately, when you have zero weapons and everybody's hurt, and you really only have, honestly, let's be honest, you really have like two and a half people you can rely on. Miles Sanders, Zach Ertz, and a little bit of Greg Ward. Sometimes you're going to have to make up some of that with your legs, and that's kind of what he's done so far. This game. I'm glad that he is, but I'd much rather some of the other people step up so he doesn't have to.
Yeah, that would be a good thing. Fuji, I don't know what you think, but I agree.
Well, basically, Ryan just pretty much summed it up. I mean, he's moving, he's running with the ball, but, I mean, God forbid he gets popped or gets hurt. I mean, you see him out there lining up a wide receiver, did a nice little blocking, but
got a little
trickery for Jalen Hurts.
But how much longer, before they decide to switch things around? And again, I'm not trying to advocate for Carson to be done. I'm pretty sure a lot of us, again, we're just frustrated. We're a frustrated fan base, and obviously as, podcasters, broadcasters, you name it, everyone's going to get frustrated because we don't see what Doug keeps talking about week after week. We haven't seen yet from this team. It's either been a slow start, no start, or we're trying to win it at the very end of the game. I mean, there's no consistency. And we saw it week one with DCU. DCU proved us wrong because when we looked at it, we started out as, according to Doug, his fast tempo. And then what happened? Well, DCU came alive and they decided to take it over. I mean, I've never seen an NFL team being beat by a college team, but apparently they proved that one. So and maybe with San Fran, we will think there would be a fire lit under these guys. As I think it was Tom to mention earlier, that something would happen. But we're seeing the same things as we've been seeing week 3, week 2, and week 1. What could be any adjustment that we could see possibly here on the second half?
I would just keep running the ball. I mean, Miles Sanders is moving the ball effectively. I mean, the offensive line looks like they are playing half decent. I mean, outside of maybe offsides penalty on Jordan Mailata, but hey, just Ryan said earlier, run the ball. I mean, San Fran's 16th in the league against the run, so use that as a strength against their weakness. I mean, Zach Ertz seems like he's involved way more in the game now, having some nice catches. I mean, the defense is, they're getting to the quarterback. The Eagles finally got their first turnover in 4 games already. So, defensive line's getting in there, and Nate Erie's getting burned again and taking a stupid penalty on a face mask.
Right.
Well, I think I think what it comes down to, and what's probably more scary than the fact that they're just not playing well, is there's too many mental mistakes. The penalties, as you mentioned, that's just simple things that you should know by now as a professional football player, and they're just making the same mistakes over and over again. That Mailata penalty killed us. The Nate Geary penalty, terrible. Nate Geary personally, I think, needs to get off the field. Someone needs to tell him.
Agreed.
That face mask you have, you didn't earn that. You didn't earn that dark visor. No, that's for good linebackers. That's not you. Take that off. You need to see what you're doing, because clearly you can't even see to tackle and to do anything. Get off the field. I'm just so sick and tired of Nate Geary. This team just makes dumb mistakes over and over again, and that's what's going to kill them this entire game. I'm glad they got a turnover. Positive things. San Fran was driving. Kittle killed us, and they took one away. Thank God, because that's the only reason why we're not down right now.
Yeah, that's true. There's two quick clips that I wanted to try and play here before we turn it back over to the Eagles. One is Zach Ertz and Brandon Graham, where they talked about, and I don't know if we can see the difference in this game, but they mentioned what they want to prepare for, and we'll see if what they said is actually coming to fruition here.
Obviously, this is not a great situation in Tennessee. I think it's kind of a wake-up call for the rest of the NFL. You knew it was coming, per se. I thought we've done an incredible job throughout the NFL, obviously with the amount of negative tests we've had. Unfortunately, it came up, and there's protocols in place to deal with it. That's why the protocols are in place to handle these certain situations. But at the same time, it is a great reminder for the other 31 teams that we got to be diligent. The pandemic is not over by any means. Even though we're playing, we're doing what we love. We're doing what we've done in the past. The fault of the team is not on Carson by any means. At times we're playing good football as an offense. At times he's playing great, and there are other times as an offense we're just struggling. We're not putting drives together. We're inconsistent. We're playing behind the sticks. So we just got to be better on offense. It's not all on Carson. It's never been all on one person in this system. We all know we have to play better.
Let's just go 1-0, like Coach say. Let's focus in on just getting our first dub, and all it is just paying attention to the little details, making sure that we're ready when our name's called, and just making sure that we stay together. Let's go out and get our dub, and that's just the message this week. We got to make sure that we pay attention to the detail, stop the run up front on defense, and make sure that we get after that quarterback when we do that.
Yeah! I'm dancing too much. He forgetting I'm mic'd up. He record everything. Is this you? Can you hear me? Yeah, there you go. I found the camera. I never know where the camera's at on game day.
So, Zach Ertz, what did he just say? Basically that the same thing that we're seeing right now, and he talked about it obviously this week, once again during practice. So Zach Ertz says it. Brendan Graham pretty much puts it together, saying almost identical to what Zach says. You can't put blame on one person. But again, we don't see the product out there on the field. If Carson wants to play the blame game, I don't know what you're going to do to make this a better half on the second half. But, Zach Ertz, he just about hit it on the head. I don't know. Again, I'll leave it up to you guys, but I had to agree with what Zach Ertz had to say.
Well, it's cohesiveness. This team still looks like they're lost out there. I don't know if it's just as far as the receivers, as far as with Wentz, maybe you don't have the timing down with these guys or what the heck it is. It's still inconsistent on my perspective. How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. There's, I don't want to necessarily blame that on the lack of the normal, preseason. No preseason games, very limited, off-season training. But that's everybody. Everybody's going through the same thing, and the Eagles just look lost, not only on offense but defense. Through the first 3 weeks, the NFL has scored more points than in any 3-week period in history. And the Eagles are struggling to get points on the board where most teams are, scoring record numbers. And we all didn't have the same, off season. We all had very limited time together. So why are they doing it and we're not? We have the offensive weapons. I know we're a little banged up, but so is a lot of people. So what's the disconnect?
Well, because nobody wants to. It's a mentality where it's supposed to be the next man up, and we've said it since week one. It's supposed to be the next man up, but no one wants to take that next man up level. I mean, we saw Darius Slay. Looks like he took a helmet to the ankle, so Darius Slay may be out. Lane Johnson went out early. Again, plagued injuries. We talked about in the pregame show. So it doesn't get it any better for this team. But you have to find a way to win. You have to. Because it's like you come out the locker room with your head held up high, but then you go into the locker room and you don't know if you got to put it like an ostrich, even though they really technically don't put their head in the sand. But it's almost the same exact way, because at this point, what do you do? What message do you convene to these players to tell them, listen, as Mike always loves to say, get off the schneid. You have to, because there's got to be a fire lit up under this team to say we need to play better. We need to be accountable. Everyone played to their position, and we've yet to see that. We're coming up here on the second half real quick, and I don't know how much more adjustments can they make. I'm pretty sure Schwartz is going to come back at the end of the week and after the game, maybe Wednesday on his press conference, and just say it again. He's not going to throw any of his guys under the bus, but we need to do better. And I don't know how much better can we get, because at this point, it may look like we're going to go 0-3-1 because 8-7 is not going to cut the mustard.
Let me ask you guys for something real fast. Is it too early to say Doug's lost this locker room? Maybe is it a reach question? I don't know.
I mean, it's not a reach question. I think it's maybe a question that just isn't being asked right now, and it may not be true. He may not have it, but I think it's an important question to ask, because when things are happening that you just don't understand, you can't, pinpoint the reasoning. You have to explore all options. And I think you have to explore the fact that maybe Doug's kind of isn't with it. Maybe the players aren't responding, and maybe that's why there's poor play. Maybe that's why there's poor mental mistakes. That to me screams coaching.
I mean, is there tension in the locker room you don't hear about or see?
I mean, you think about all the little bits and pieces here that you hear about Carson Wentz. That he's not a great team player. He Alshon Jeffrey and him didn't get along, and all these little things about Carson, and it starts to kind of creep. And when there's so many of them, you begin to wonder, maybe it is Carson. Maybe Carson's not a great personality that meshes with other people. Is he the problem?
Very true.
I don't want to know the answer to that, but I think it's something that we have to at least maybe look at.
Possibly. Well, we're going to squeeze in 3 quick comments because I know we're coming up here at the end of the half. Again, Mike Sherman, please like and share the page. We do appreciate that. Also, they need to keep Kittle in check. If they can control the clock, they should have a shot to win this late in the fourth quarter. So true. We'll see. And Mike, once again, great show, guys. Let me go back to here for a second. We thank, of course, Ryan from Phillyverse. I'm going to throw it up there, the banner. I didn't mean to put it over your head, but Phillyverse, again, if you guys want to follow him, find him on Facebook, on Twitter. He's all over the place. His guys do a good job here with the podcast. So, Ryan, again, we thank you. We hope that at the end of this game, we're not pulling out this thing again because we borrowed it from the Browns. Hopefully the Browns can take it back to their field. Also, on top of our sponsor, of course, Tampa Joe's, we do appreciate Mike Goodwin and the group. And, of course, Philly South is down there hopefully having their fun. And we'll see maybe they can light a fire under this. So, Fuji, thank you. Ryan, thank you. We're going to get back to the game. Everyone, we will see you guys all next week. And let's go, Birds. Let's hope that we get the actual win.
Go Birds.
Good.
Thanks for coming on, Ryan.
I appreciate you guys having me. Anytime.
You're welcome.